You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Greetings, everyone. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily, episode 1510. This time, Mary Kitzmiller and I have a chat about giving to pressure and how it influences nearly everything we do with our horses. A big thanks to today's sponsor, Sentinel Horse Nutrition.
Some people don't think horses and people communicate. We call those people not horse people. Not horse people don't know you and your horse share a unique bond, or that your horse knows you know they like your dogs. But not so much the barking. At Sentinel Horse Nutrition, we don't knock not horse people. We're too busy focusing on horse people's horses. With extruded nugget feeds for exceptional nutrition and formulas for every need, our wide choice of feeds makes it easy to find the fit for your horse's health. Find theirs at feedsentinel.com.
You want to teach your horse to give to pressure, not just when it comes to leading or pulling on the reins when you're riding. I like to teach my horses to give each one of their feet to pressure. So this is why I think hobble training is so important. Even if you're not a cowboy and you're never going to be camping out on the range and, needing your horse to hobble for their job, going through the motions of teaching your horse to accept hobbles, even if you never put hobbles on them, but going through all that prep work can be so good for your horse and life-saving. So I'll do the same things I'll take my lead rope and kind of run it up and down the horse's legs so they understand, hey, a rope's going to touch you here and you're going to be okay. But then I might double that lead rope, let it slide down below their fetlock, and I'll gently pull that front leg forward until they lift it up and take a step forward. And I actually do a lot of this with the lariat, and I'll put that rope around all 4 feet and teach them to lead by all 4 feet. And, there's a lot of prep work I go into doing that. You need to be very careful if you're using a lariat. But the way I set it up, I don't need gloves when I do this. If I'm burning my hands, it means I've skipped too many steps and we've done something wrong. But teaching them to give all 4 feet, it solves so many problems. For one, your horse is going to be so good for the farrier if he can do this. And I teach him to lead by the feet, but I'll also take the lariat and lift the foot and hold it there, maybe for just a moment initially, but then I'll just see, can I hold it here for several seconds? If you can get that going with your horse, he's going to be so much better for the farrier, especially for his first trim. The other thing this teaches, this is going to help me be able to doctor my horse's feet. We've had a few questions about teaching your horse to pony. If I've got a long lead rope and I'm ponying my horse and they feel that rope, hit them and, dangle on their foot, they're not going to freak out. Or let's say this horse goes and runs behind my horse and we've got the lead rope all tangled up. He's less likely to have a wreck if he goes, okay, I felt this pressure and I know that I should just give to it and it's okay. If your horse is ever, he might get caught in a fence someday. And I've actually had this happen. I had a stud horse that he was in one of my turnout pens, and there was a gate that had been left open. And so he was able to get to a pen that was bordering on another horse's pen, and he had gotten into a little scuffle with him. They were arching their necks and squealing. And I think what happened is he ended up striking out at this horse in the pen on the other side. And where he struck out, it was these 2 double gates, these metal pipe gates that were chained together. And he just had this $1 million once, 1 in a million shot where he struck out and his foot came down between those 2 gates and on top of the chain, linking them together. And I was in my arena riding when I just kind of heard this light ting, ting, ting noise. And so I got off my horse and I'm like, what is that noise? It was just this very calm kind of metal clang noise that I was just hearing methodically. And I go and I look at this horse and his foot is eye level in between these 2 gates. And all he's doing is he's pulling back gently and giving every time the gates kind of tighten on his foot. I mean, that easily could have been a death sentence. He could have pulled his dang foot off, or at least, very least severely injure himself. But he got stuck and he goes, I know what to do. And he just sat there giving to pressure. And he was an angel while I was able to unwedge his foot and get him safe. He had no injury, no hair loss. He limped maybe a couple steps and he was fine. And I very much 100% believe it's because I had done a lot of lariat work and I had done a lot of work around his legs. So I like to teach my horse to give every single body part to pressure. If I handle your ear and I lightly massage your ear, I want you to turn your head toward me. If I grab a hold of your muzzle and I move your muzzle left and right, I want you to give to that. If I take my fingertips and I press them into your chest, I want you to back away from that. So these are all incredibly important things for a horse of any age. It's great colt starting prep, and pretty much you're teaching the horse, hey, I know your natural instinct is to either push against pressure or run away from pressure. I'm going to methodically teach you over time. It's best if you give to it. You can save your life if you give to pressure.
I think of it as an ongoing thing too. It's not a case of I've taught my horse to move away from pressure and now I'm done. It's a continuous process because the application of the pressure is constantly changing. There's leg pressure and there's pressure from the weight in your seat. There's pressure from the halter. There's pressure from the butt bar. It's constant. So I think a lot of us fall into that trap of, okay, I've started the horse or I got a new horse. I taught him to give from halter pressure. He stands tied beautifully. I've taught him to give to pressure from the bit. He turns and gives his face to me quietly and easily. I've taught him to move away from leg pressure. He can do side passes all day long. I'm done. And I think it's the whole concept of giving to pressure permeates our relationship with horses all the time.
Yeah, it is never ending. And because one, it's very counterintuitive for the horse as a prey animal. But it also, like you just mentioned, it's going to go throughout your whole relationship. Even if you're trading up to Grand Prix level dressage, it goes from, I'm going to teach you how to be safe and stand tied and do these basic things to, this is how your tempi lead changes are going to get really good. If you understand how to give your hips when I press my leg against you in this certain way. So it's never ending, and you can always come up with new and interesting ways to see, hey, can I get my horse to give to this?
Well, there you have it. Horse Radio Network has thousands of engaging podcasts for horse people, and you can have them sent right to your phone. Just subscribe via your favorite podcast player. This is Coach Jen, and I will be back again soon with another tip. Until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.